Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Lowell Stitches. Today we are going to be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful gown. If you're new here, kindly subscribe, like and share this video. So the first thing we're going to do is to fold our fabric into four, just like I've done. So I'm going to use this material to illustrate how I folded the main fabric. So let's assume you have your fabric like this. You're going to fold it one time like this. Then you're going to fold it downward. Of course, you're going to measure the length of what you want to do. So you measure the length. For example, the length I'm working with is 57. So I added 2 inches allowance. That's 59 inches in total. So after doing that, now we're going to measure our shoulder. So the way you do it is you're going to measure from your center back and stretch your hand a little bit to where you want your sleeve to reach. So for me, I'm using 18, but I'm going to be measuring 17 because I'm going to add a band to it, a 2 inches band. So from that point, I'm going to measure the length of the sleeve. I do not want the sleeve, the length of the sleeve to be too big. So I'm making use of 10.5, yes. So I'm going to connect from that shoulder line to, should we call it shoulder line or sleeve line, to the 10.5. So from that point, I'm going to be measuring my hip measurement divided by 4. So it's a bubu. We are not going to be making use of our bust measurement. Instead, you make use of your hip measurements divided by 4. The hip I'm working with is 36, that's 9 divided by 4. Then I added 3 inches allowance for ease. You can add up to 4 or 5 inches. It depends on how big you want it to be. But mine, I'm using 3. I don't want it to be too big. So you're going to connect from that sleeve to where you have your hip measurement. So I'm going to just measure what I have, and I'm going to measure the same measurement I have on that point downward. So that's about 13 inches. I'm going to be measuring that downward. So after marking the same measurement downward, the next thing we're going to do is to cut it out. So after cutting it out, we're going to start marking our neckline. So let's cut it out. So now the next thing we're going to do now is to mark out our neckline. So for this dress, the neckline I'm going to be using is 2.7. Yes, 2.7, because I don't want the neck to be too wide. Then the depth is going to be 1 inches. So mind you, while we are cutting this neckline, the fabric is still on fold. So we are cutting for both the front and the back first before we now cut out the front neckline. So width is 2.7, the depth is 1 inches. So I'm going to cut it out. So now we are going to open up the front. Remember that this is on fold and this is how it looks. So we are cutting just the top part alone because that's the front. So I'm going to be measuring 2.5 inches. I'm just going to use my free hand to connect from the neck downward. So we're going to be measuring it all the way to the down to the bottom part because we're going to be cutting through it. That's where we're going to be attaching our collar. So I'm going to measure 2.5 inches across all the way to the bottom. So I am done measuring. The next thing we're going to do is to cut it. You see how I'm doing it? I'm not cutting the two together. I'm placing my scissors in between, in the middle. You see, I'm placing my scissors in the middle. Then I'm going to cut out just the front alone. The reason why the thing is glued together is because I used my pin to secure it so that the fabric will not be moving. So you're just going to cut the one at the top alone. Please do not make the mistake of cutting both the front and the back together. So just follow as I do it. So I'm just going to cut this off down to the bottom. So I'm done cutting and this is what we have. So I'm just going to use my scissors to make a sign right there. I don't know, is it notch or not? What is the right pronunciation for it? I'm just going to notch it. Please let me know in the comment section. So I'm just going to do that. Then the next thing we're going to do is to cut out the long strip that we're going to use for the collar. So what you do is this: you're going to measure while the fabric is on fold from that side down to the bottom. Whatever you have, you're going to multiply it by 2, and that's what you're going to use to cut your strip. So for this, my fabric was not enough, so I had to join it together at some point. It's okay if your fabric is not enough, just join it and give it a good ironing. So for this band, you're going to be measuring what you took out. Remember, we took out 2.5 inches, then I added half inches allowance. So the width is 3 inches. So that's the width for this. And as you can see, I've ironed it. You're going to see why it is very important for you to iron it very soon. So the next thing we're going to do now is to now get our neckline and where the slit is going to start from. So if you did not join your fabric, you need to, very important, you need to get your midpoint. For me, I'm using the place I joined together as my midpoint. So from my midpoint, you see the way it is, you're going to open it up like this. Please pay attention and watch the video closely. So you're going to open it up down to the end here. You're going to divide it into two, fold it into two. That's of course your midpoint, and then you're going to open it up like this. So this is why it is important for you to iron first, because when you want to sew, it will be easier for you to sew on the middle. So I'm just going to secure it with my pin. Then we're going to measure our neckline. So we're going to measure our neckline. In this video I made use of 10.5, but I later realized 10.5 would be too tight, so I later made use of 12.5 for the neckline. So please, when you're measuring, before you mark out your neckline, do well to measure the neckline. So now the next thing we're going to do is to get where our slit is going to start from. So how you're going to do that is to measure from your shoulder to where you want your slit to start from. For me, I measured my client, it is 46. So we're starting from the top and I'm going to measure 46, exactly 46. So just watch as I do it. So this is 46 and that is where I want the slit to start from. So I'm just going to secure it with a pin. So after doing that, what we're going to do is to sew straight in the middle from where the neckline is going to stop down to where our slit is going to start. As simple as that.
I am done.
Okay, so this is what we have. I'm done sewing it. I sewed it in the middle. So this is how it looks like. What we're going to do now is to turn it over, turn it to the side, to both sides. So I'm just going to mark to make sure that I have what I want for the neckline. So I'm just going to turn it like this, and I'm going to see how it's going to look like.
So now,
so this is how it looks. We have our neck, and also look at where the slit is going to start from. This is how it looks like. So the next thing we're going to do now is to attach it to our fabric. So I'm going to open up my fabric like this. So you're going to open it up like this and place the front side, of course the right side, on your table or on the floor, wherever you're cutting it like this. So the next thing we're going to do is to attach the back. But before that, we're going to get the midpoint for the back, because that's where we're going to start attaching from. So now I'm going to take my collar like this, then I'm going to pick the midpoint. Remember, I'm using where I joined as my midpoint. Make sure you mark out your midpoint. So I'm going to start by, just watch placing it. I'm going to start by placing the midpoint. So you're going to place your collar, the midpoint of your collar, to the midpoint of your fabric. So I'm just going to show you how you're going to do it. You're going to place it like this and turn it and then pin it. You see, you're just going to place it like this and then pin it. So that is how you're going to continue to pin. Remember, you're pinning the rough edge, not the middle where you joined. So you're just going to turn it like this, and you continue to pin it all the way down. So I'm done pinning the left side. The next thing we're going to do is to pin the right side. So you're going to flip your fabric over like this. You're going to turn it over like this, so it will be easier for you to pin it. You see how it is? And then you're going to start pinning the same way you pinned for the other side. We're going to pin it all the way down. So after pinning it, this is what I have. I'm going to sew it with my sewing machine now. So I'm done sewing with my sewing machine, and you can see how neat it looks. Very beautiful already. So the next thing we're going to do now is to attach the band to the sleeve. I've already cut out the band. It is 2 inches, the width is 2 inches on fold. So I'm going to sew it. I'm going to attach it like this and sew it on my sewing machine. So after attaching the band, this is what the sleeve should look like. This is what your sleeve should look like. So I've done that. So the next thing we're going to do is to join it together. So after doing that, you're going to place your fabric properly and make sure that the sleeves are matching. So when you're done, you're just going to sew it by 1/2 inches all the way down. So after doing that, by the edge, you're going to fold it by whatever inches allowance you added. For me, I added 2 inches allowance. So I'm just going to fold it twice and sew, and that's it. See you on the next one, guys. Bye.